Hey everyone! I've rigged up a standing recording setup. Why? Because I sit down far too much and I'm trying to get in shape. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about the question of how strong is the Flash? Now I ask this question and not the more obvious one of how fast is the Flash because after doing a bit of research into how fast can the Flash go, I have decided that there is no ceiling for the character. You see, the Flash can only go as fast as the writer needs him to go. So if he needs him to go 100 miles an hour, and I know that is super, super low compared to what he could do, but at least those are numbers that you can understand very easily. If you need him to go 100 miles an hour, and that is all the Flash can go, well, if you now need him to go 200 miles an hour, then the Flash just runs that much faster. So in terms of actual Flash-style speeds, if you need him to go so fast that he's breaking the sound barrier, he does. If you need him to go at light speed, he does. If you need him to outrun death, he has literally done that. He has outrun death. So there really is no ceiling to the Flash's potential speed. He can go as fast as he wants. But that does bring us to the question that I asked at the beginning of this video. How strong is the Flash? And I ask that question because a lot of people just assume the Flash is a fast individual and all of his powers are based around speed. But that's not actually true. You see, the Flash's powers are him tapping into a mystical and mysterious energy known as the Speed Force. And the Speed Force, while yes, it gives people the power of speed to be able to run as fast as needed for whatever situation they're in, the fact is, the Speed Force also grants weird powers that makes no sense. So today we're going to go over some of the more epic things that the Flash has done, and we're going to be telling you about my favorite scenes related to those abilities. And I'm going to let you know right now, a lot of Speed Force based powers exist for a single panel or a single page just to give the Flash a way to solve a problem. And then he never does it again. So I'm going to go ahead and put the disclaimer out there now. There are probably more Speed Force powers out there that I could not find. And trust me, I found some really obscure single panel ones. Let's get started. So let's kick this off with the one that everyone likes to see, the Infinite Mass Punch. Now this is basically the concept that the Flash moves so fast that he builds up his velocity to allow him to use all of that speed and throw a single punch. The Flash has described the Infinite Mass Punch as being likened to a white dwarf star. And while we have seen him hit people harder and he's explained it multiple times, I feel like one of the coolest panels showing this ability is the time that he fought the character Zoom, the White Martian. Not Zoom, the character that we all know, but Zoom, Z-U, weird dots over the U and an M. It's super close, I know. Anyway, he explains in these panels with Zoom chasing him that he ran so fast that Zoom lost track of him, and the Flash appeared to be a beam of light. He said at these speeds he could have hit the fellow speedster 1,000 times with the Infinite Mass Punch, but it only took one as he hurled a Zoom into orbit and then back down to Earth to make a crater. Another one that is entirely speed-based is apparently his quantum tunneling. Now, I've always just called it his weird vibration ability, but I can see why out of context that naming scheme doesn't work. But anyway, moving back to his vibration abilities. The Flash moves his very molecules so quickly that he can walk through solid objects. He can also touch other people and objects to vibrate them to allow them to pass through whatever object he's trying to run through with him. The best example of this, guys, is when in the New 52, I think it was issue 3 or 4, the Flash went ahead and saw a plane crash landing. Now, he ran at top speed, jumped off a bridge, vibrated through the plane, and then inside of the plane stopped vibrating, landed in the aisles, put both hands on the walls, vibrated the entire plane with every individual on it through the bridge that it was going to crash land on, and he gave it a safe water landing. That's insane. That vibration ability is just a little overpowered. Just a little. Just a little. He also has a Speed Force aura. Now, the Speed Force aura is what allows him to run at these top speeds and, you know, not be killed by a single mosquito as he runs past it at light speed and it cracks him in the head. You see, the Speed Force aura blocks him from bugs, twigs, rubble, just dirt, debris, all kinds of things like that. It also protects him from, like, very general hits. And it also prevents all the friction that would actually cause him to die. There's been a few times that the Speed Force aura has been taken away from the Flash, or a speedster in general, and when that happens, we've seen them take injuries to just general rubble, broken glass. We've even seen them die to sheer friction, things like that. So the Speed Force aura is like a protective bubble that just keeps him safe while moving at these speeds. Now, another one of the well-known speedster-based abilities that the Flash loves to use off and on is his time travel and interdimensional abilities. You see, now with time travel, he does it one of two ways, and it's entirely dependent upon the writer and how cool he wants to make the Flash's time travel abilities appear. First up, way back in the day, he was only able to travel through time using the cosmic treadmill, and his reasoning behind this was if he started to run so fast that he would go back in time, he couldn't pinpoint where he was going to stop. So he would literally lose himself in the time stream and have no way to come back home. The cosmic treadmill, for whatever the reason, gave him the ability to control his time travel and stop where he wanted it to stop. And he also, to this day, uses the cosmic treadmill to take people on time travel adventures with him, which is kind of weird because he's also completely run with them through time without an issue. That leads me to the next point. Some writers like to ignore the fact that the cosmic treadmill exists, and what happens is the Flash can just run through time and end up wherever he needs to be. Now, this ability doesn't seem like it would be that OP, but Barry Allen has completely altered the time stream doing this. He has gone all the way back in time to prevent his mother from dying, which created the Flashpoint paradox. He made an entire alternate dimension with that power. Think about that for 1 minute. This one man has the ability to make an entire timeline where people get new lives, new individuals are born, new individuals have died. The entire world is altered because he did one thing. Don't tell me that that is not overpowered. I honestly don't know why he doesn't do it more often. Well, I guess before Flashpoint Paradox, because in Flashpoint Paradox, he realized how bad it would be to do this all the time. But his other ability is his interdimensional travel. Now, the Flash has gone ahead and expressed that each universe has a Speed Force frequency, okay? And every frequency is where these universes are. Now, he can feel the frequencies, and he can travel through the frequencies using his Speed Force abilities. So what he's done before is just run and then lost track of what he's doing, and he ended up in Earth 2, and that's where he met Jay Garrick. He's also gone to like Earth 3, he's gone back to the Flashpoint Paradox. He has got this ability to literally just run through time and dimensions as he sees fit. There's even a situation that is not technically in canon, but Barry Allen ran so fast through time and dimensions that he ended up in Marvel, and he went by the name Buried Allen to be in a cosmic speedster race. Yes, that actually happened. It's not technically in canon because Marvel did it and they don't own the rights to the Flash, but it's in a comic, and you can go ahead and assume who you think Buried Alien, that was his name, Buried Alien actually is. Now, another thing that we've seen the Flash do, and this is one of his OP powers, is apparently he can take the Speed Force energy and he can actually make constructs. Now, the example I'm going to give you for this one is when Wally West's legs were broken, and that brings us to another ability, his Superspeed Healing. I didn't actually mention that one because while it is a power that the speedsters have, it's not that OP. Broken bones do not heal quickly, as we saw with Wally West. Now, in order to be the Flash and go save the day, Wally West used the Speed Force to make a construct suit of armor that would keep his legs in place so that he could still run. If you think about that, the construct had to be strong enough to withstand light speeds with how fast Wally West can actually go. So they can make constructs whenever they want to out of Speed Force energy, and it can affect the entire real world. That's basically a Green Lantern's abilities in a nutshell. And speaking of Green Lanterns, it has also been shown that using the Speed Force, Barry Allen can use a Green Lantern ring. So if making his own constructs out of the Speed Force was just out of the question for whatever the reason, well, you know, he'll just take a Green Lantern ring using the Speed Force. And if you want to go ahead and say, well, in the New 52 and Rebirth, we have not seen constructs, we have seen him use the Green Lantern ring, so whatever, he can still use constructs. Now, during his battle with Gorilla Grodd, Barry also explained a couple of things related to his abilities. One is that he is technically the king of the Speed Force because he has the ability to bring someone like Grodd into the Speed Force whenever he wants. He also explained that he has a speed mind, which allows him to calculate the outcomes of life and look into the future to an extent. And we've seen him do this in the New 52 run, where he was looking out his window and saw the entire day in front of him as to what was going to happen with this bird. The speed mind also allows him to speed read and retain all of the information that he just read. Now, there are two versions of the speed reading. If you want him to be completely OP, then speed reading allows him to retain that information permanently, and that has been shown by certain writers. But Normally, like the TV show, they like to say that he can retain the information for about an hour. That's not very OP. But if you want to make an OP Flash, you let him retain it forever. And that's what some writers have done. His speed mind moves at such a speed that it can actually prevent mind reading and possession. And we've actually seen that in the TV show when Gorilla Grodd tried to read Barry Allen's mind, but it's also happened in the comic books when Deadman tried to possess Barry Allen's body. Barry Allen, using the Speed Force, was like, no! And he just threw him out of there. His instincts are also supercharged. So even if he doesn't see it coming like a bullet to the head, his instincts will kick in and he will dodge it. In the panel that I'm showing you right now, he dodged it and it just grazed his forehead. Everyone thought he got shot in the head, but in actuality, speed instincts apparently. So he can just react at super speed. Now, this is where things get a bit more interesting, and this is what I was talking about, where a lot of times Barry Allen, Wally West, Bart Allen, all of these speedster characters will use one ability in one panel, and it's OP as hell, and we never see it again. Now, the Reverse Flash typically alters time around him. That's why he can always run faster than the Flash, because when the Flash gets nearby, the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, or whoever you want it to be, has typically altered time, and Barry Allen can't get in there and actually go quickly and move at his top speed. Well, what we discovered in the New 52 run during the final fight with the Reverse Flash, Barry Allen can alter the flow of time as he sees fit. So while the Reverse Flash can slow down time, Barry Allen can speed up time around him, allowing him to move at the speeds needed to take out the Reverse Flash. He can alter the flow of time. To me, that says that he can forever and whenever he wants to beat the Reverse Flash without an issue, and any other person that can alter time. Yet, the Reverse Flash shows back up, and he doesn't use that again. So I don't know where that power is, what happened to it. He has it apparently. He can just alter the flow of time. It even changes the way he looks in the comic. He gets like a white lightning thing going on. Now, we've also seen that the various speedsters, the various Flashes, Barry Allen and Wally West, have the ability to take Speed Force abilities out of other individuals. Barry Allen did not use it as drastically as Wally West did, but Barry Allen showed that he had the ability to run into other Speed Force users, people who had been granted Speed Force abilities based on the Speed Force Storm, and he was able to run with them and take their abilities so they would no longer be a Speed Force wielder. Now, it seems like that's why he doesn't use it on Reverse Flash. But Wally West has shown when he grabbed Inertia that he can literally just take your Speed Force and your sheer speed. He took Inertia for killing Bart Allen and then took everything out of the kid so that like basically 1 second for him was 100 years for us. And he put the kid into a museum so that forever he would have to stare at the statue of Bart Allen. It's insane. But we haven't seen it used beyond those type of situations, either willingly taking it away or like Wally West being emotionally distraught over the death of Bart Allen and just sapping everything out of Inertia. We've also seen the Flash throw lightning in the TV show. I honestly can't remember if this is in the comics or not, and I found 0 references to this being in the comics, but you can use it in Injustice, so even if it's not in the comics, it looks like it's going to be very soon. So we'll go ahead and count up throwing bolts of lightning, throwing balls of lightning, because he has thrown lightning in like a lightning kind of situation, but not in a ball. It's weird. It doesn't ever show up really that often. They can also make Speed Scouts or Speed Remnants. Now, the Speed Remnants are from the TV show, and what that is basically is he runs so fast that he makes an alternate timeline version of himself, and then these 2 individuals go off on their mission, and typically the Time Remnant is then killed or eradicated or just wiped out of the timeline. In the comics, there is a very similar thing called the Speed Scouts. Bart Allen has done it, where he runs so quickly that he makes additional versions of himself, and he sends them off on missions. Now, in the comics, they've never used it after the point in which Bart Allen lost one of those Speed Scouts and it put him into a coma. So it seems like speedsters are scared to do that within the comic books. And if you're watching the TV show, well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the Time Remnants didn't really work out there either. And here's some more of the abilities that other speedsters have shown that Barry Allen should be able to do, but we haven't seen him do, and also some more one-off, one-panel, never saw it again situations. We actually saw Barry Allen fight against the anti-life equation. So in the story, The Final Crisis, Darkseid finally won, and he put the anti-life equation on Earth, and everyone was under his control. Barry Allen was able to kiss Iris West, and it erased from her mind. So the Speed Force can get rid of the anti-life equation. It negates it. We've also seen Savitar use a shield. We've seen Flight, when Jesse and Johnny Quick ran so quickly that they did inverted flight and basically just took off. But no one else has ever done that. We've only seen Jesse and Johnny Quick do it. The closest we've ever seen is Barry Allen actually like ran on clouds during the New 52 run. That was kind of interesting, but he was worried that he was going to fall through at any moment, so I guess it really wasn't real flight. Technological augmentation was used by Albert Lim to short circuit and break electronics, and metabolism augmentation by Floyd Gomez, giving him a ton of abilities, but that was listed, and I've never even heard of that one. Metabolism augmentation. I assume you can make it so you can eat stuff faster, but either way, it was just another one of the side characters in one of the stories that kind of vanished. But that's it. That's how powerful the Flash can be. Think about this for a moment. The guy can run at super speeds. He can go into a different timeline, a different dimension. He can throw lightning. He can vibrate through walls. He can bring people with him going through walls. The dude can punch stronger, supposedly, than Superman. Apparently, the infinite mass punch is stronger than Superman's punch. So I don't know why he's never used it on him that often, but you feel like every time that they'd be fighting Superman, he would be like, infinite mass punch, you're done. As a matter of fact, it was used in the cartoon Justice League Unlimited. He used it on Brainiac, and it almost killed him. So think about that for a minute, how strong that punch was. Superman could not drop Brainiac Lex, but the Flash did it. There you go. There's your infinite mass punch reference. Anyway, guys, this one was a really difficult one to do, how strong is the Flash, because there was very little references for me to work with, and it was all obscure and deleted. So, like I said, I may have missed some really epic things that the Flash has done, other than, like, outrace death. I mean, as far as his speed goes, I feel like outracing death is kind of like the pinnacle. You can't go any faster than that. You've gone into the afterlife, outraced death, and you came back. That's about as fast as you ever really need to be. And then everything else he can do. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Flash's powers. If you think he's just a little too overpowered for the character that he is. Also, let me think, what do you think about them versus Quicksilver? You ever wonder why Quicksilver always loses in those fan debates? That's because the Flash can outrun death. Outrun death, guys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.